Hi, this is Rashmi Airan. Thank you so much to PechaKucha Miami for inviting me to participate in this year's event on Women's History Month on the theme of the beauty of imperfection. I'm thrilled to be here with incredible other women, remarkable women who have achieved so much and who are doing so much in the space of women. So I want to start with Rashmi. Rashmi means the rays of the morning sun. And pretty much every Saturday, you will find me at Matheson Hammock Park catching the sunrise. It is my happy place. It's where my soul lives and finds peace. And this picture, by all accounts, is an incredibly beautiful and perfect sunrise. But if you look closely, there is a piece of construction equipment. It's not the perfect picture. So my parents grew up in India, and they came here early in 1970 when they got married. My dad had come a few years earlier with $8 in his pocket. And when they came, my mom left everything she knew, and my dad left everything he knew. Why? They came to achieve the American dream. Every immigrant seemingly did this. So when my parents were getting involved in the community and becoming successful business people, both as lawyers and real estate developers and engineers, the three daughters, the three of us, I was the oldest, did everything we could to make our parents proud of us. And that meant getting the best grades, winning all the awards, aiming and trying to get into the best schools. And that was kind of what I did. We lived this incredibly big house in Gables Estates, all the way at the end, which overlooked the ocean. And I could see Key Biscayne and Stillsville and far away Miami Beach. And that was sort of the epitome of living. And so I defined where my goals were based on what I saw. What I believed meant I had to be perfect in every grade, all of it, so I could make money to achieve what I thought what I was supposed to do, which was where my worth lied. The only imperfection I saw in myself was in my body. So when I was a cheerleader, I wore pantyhose. I had to hide the cellulite. That was how I was going to hide and any imperfection that I had, because to me, that wasn't beautiful. I wanted to be just like all the other girls in my class and on my cheerleading squad. When I went to UNC Chapel Hill, I did really well. I ran for student body president. I lost by 7 votes, but I was still struggling with my weight. I became anorexic because I didn't want to be overweight. I was so willing to struggle and force my body to do things that didn't make sense just to look like everybody else. I got to New York. I went and graduated from Columbia Law School, still fitting in the good column, getting the best grades. I was a Kent Scholar and graduated top of my class at Columbia. And yet I still always struggled with the imperfection that I saw, which was I wanted to fit in. I wanted to look like everybody else. I wanted to be like everybody else. My grandfather, Banarsi Das Saraf, was a freedom fighter during the Quit India movement against the British. And he often found himself in jail because he was fighting against the British. And my dad tells me the story about how when he was 12, he had just finished reading Gandhi's autobiography, because as it turns out, the day my dad was born, my grandfather, his father, was sitting in jail with Gandhi. So Gandhi in his autobiography shares this really shameful moment. And my dad turns to his father and says, why would Gandhi share this really embarrassing moment for the entire world to read about forever? And my dad says to my father, because my grandfather says to my father, that's the point, son. When you go through life's hard lessons, you should share those imperfections and let them be seen so other people can learn from it, because that is the beauty. In 2014, I was indicted for conspiracy to commit bank fraud and bank fraud. For somebody who was always in the good girl column and always on the straight and narrow perfect path, I found myself in a complete place of glaring failure. What a day of imperfection. I thought I would be shunned by my family. I was disgracing everybody. This picture is taken a few months after I was indicted, and I am the oldest of all of these cousins on my mom's side of the family. I have my sister and like 10 other cousins. I'm the oldest, and they all looked up to me. And through this process, what I learned is the imperfection of my life actually has been a role model. I lost my bar license, something I had worked so hard for, both at UNC and at Columbia. And when I lost my bar license, lost my ability to earn income, I had to really reflect and deconstruct and dig deep on what I was going to do. How was I going to reinvent myself? Because now I'm an ex-felon and I'm not the perfect kid. On the morning I surrendered, which was August 17th, 2015, my parents and I and my daughter, my son stayed home because it was too emotional. We went back to Matheson to watch the sunrise. And I prayed. And I had to deal with the fact that I was scared. I didn't know who I was going to meet in prison. My cell was a 6x9 cube with a bunk bed and shoulder high walls. And what I learned while I was there was every single person was just like me. We were all imperfect beings who had made some bad decisions, who had done some bad actions, but inherently still all really good people. And yet people want to pass judgment because we're not perfect. My kids were amazing. They still continue to be amazing. I honored them with the truth. They visited me many times in prison. And what they saw was mommy is not perfect. She's actually the perfectly imperfect mom. And that's a journey I've been on. They have watched me grow through this, and they themselves now as teenagers are learning. In my faith, in my Hindu faith, Ganesh is the imperfect being. He was a little boy whose head was chopped off and was then replaced by an elephant head. And Ganesh is known as the god of protection, the remover of obstacles. He's approachable because he's imperfect. He's beautiful because he's imperfect. And he opens all the closed doors. He opens pathways. Ever since I've been home, I've had the honor of being able to present and share my story globally. So whether it's to audiences like this of 3,500 in Vegas or to small audiences of 10 CEOs in a conference room, I now share my story vulnerably, and I talk about my imperfections. I talk about my sister who suffered from mental illness. When I was growing up, she was my perfect sister. She was prettier, smarter, more popular, and she began to suffer from mental illness when she got to college and ultimately died last year. And the beauty of her life was gifting all of us with the recognition that every one of us has our imperfections and we are all still beautiful. My children now have a single mom. I never ever thought I would get divorced. It was not in the good girl category. And now I'm a single mom of two incredibly talented, athletic, brilliant, fearless children who have watched their mom embrace her imperfections. The beauty of this life is learning every single day. The sunrises always change. And even when they're cloudy, they're still incredibly beautiful. Even when the trees are blocking the sun, they're still incredibly beautiful. So cherish every single imperfection, recognize it, grow it with every day. Thank you so much.